I served in the Marines from age 18 to 28 when I was honorably discharged due to pinched nerves in my back, which led to surgery. Thankfully, surgery worked for me, and while I recuperated, I took a job as a driver for an assisted living facility. Technically, I worked for two sister companies, which were about a 35 to 45-minute drive from one another, and I would drive meds, patients, etc. between the two facilities. Usually, I worked the day shift. However, the night shift driver suddenly quit without warning, and I was asked while they found someone to cover his shift. One night, I was asked to drive some meds between Site A and Site B. No biggie. I happily hopped in the van and headed to Site B. In order to get to Site B, I had to drive through a heavily forested area. It was spooky, but as a former Marine and someone who grew up in the boondocks, I don't scare very easily. Or so I thought. I'm listening to a book on tapes, as it was an older van with just a CD player. The radio didn't work very well, and this was before XM became the thing. I hear some rustling in the back of the van. Now, a month prior, a squirrel had somehow made his way inside the van. I thought maybe it was another one, and the sound stopped, so I shrugged it off. I'm driving through the forest, lost in thought, when something bites me hard on the back of my neck. I swerve the car, almost smashing into another car. My heart's beating 1,000,000 miles a minute, and I immediately pulled over. I run out of the car and open the back. I'm expecting a rabid squirrel, but sitting there, with a blank expression on her face, is Agnes, a woman who had severe mental issues and was a resident. She was muttering, "I'm not supposed to be here." She had bit my neck, and what was more disturbing was that she had a knitting needle in her hand, which she must have taken from another resident. I ended up calling two of the staff who worked the ward she lived in, and they ended up coming to get her. They talked her down into giving them the needle and managed to get her back to the facility. I had to get my bite looked at, and I ended up quitting a few months later after another crazy incident. I stayed far away from Agnes the rest of my time there. This just happened a few days ago, and I'm extremely shaken up. Some backstory. I live on the second floor of a third-level apartment. We have a crawl space that connects all the apartments. We aren't sure why it's there, but we all have stuff in it, and none of us would ever even attempt to go inside of it, so we all felt pretty safe. The other night the sun was setting, but it wasn't pitch black out or anything yet. I'm walking through my living room when I see a short woman on my fire escape looking into my windows. This is extremely bizarre, considering it's still semi-light out and she had to literally get onto our fire escape somehow. We have two windows that the fire escape reaches, and she was looking in both but didn't see me. I crawled onto the ground and my heart was racing as I watched her try to open the windows. I didn't know what the fuck to do because my phone was in the other room. After what seemed like an eternity, she finally left. I went into my room to get my phone and to text my landlord. I came back into the living room and was looking out the windows to see if I could locate her when all of a sudden I hear a weird noise coming from the ceiling. We have one of those tile ceilings made out of separate slabs of cork/wood. I look up to see one of the slabs lifted and two eyes staring at me. I have no clue how she got into the crawl space so quickly, but I grabbed the nearest thing next to me, which was a broom, and started hitting her with it through the ceiling. I called the cops the second she crawled away. They showed up and started searching the place. She wasn't found until a few days later when she was on someone else's fire escape. The cops said she was definitely on some hard drugs and that she was violent towards them. I'm glad she's gone, but whoever that crazy lady that came through my ceiling was, let's not meet again.